Hello guys, what is up? My name is Dylan. Welcome to the Popcorn Podcast. I hope everyone is doing fantastic. As always, it is time for me to talk about everything that I watched in the month of July. As some of you might have already seen, this episode isn't nearly as long as some of the other ones I've done in the series, and that is basically because I didn't manage to watch that much this month. I think I only managed to see around 10 or 11 films, and that's not to say that I wasn't watching anything. For example, at the start of July, I caught up on Stranger Things season 4, finished that in a couple of days, which was like fantastic. It's probably my favorite season since the first. And then of course, The Boys season 3 came out, which was just a complete and utter just delight to watch. What an insane season of The Boys. If you haven't seen The Boys, I highly recommend getting on the show, especially if you're into comic books and superheroes. It is a very polarizing show with a lot to love, and season 3 might just be the best yet. I was also on holiday in the Dominican Republic, so I didn't really watch too much over there, if anything, but still 11 films in the month of July. Without further ado, let's get into them. So, the first thing that I watched in the month of July was Thor, Love and Thunder, the fourth Thor movie, the latest entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Why am I telling you guys stuff that you already know? I didn't really love this film too much. I thought it was fine. It was kind of disappointing, and the more I think about this film, the less I seem to like it. I've only seen it the one time, which by my standards is quite rare, because usually when comic book films come out, I tend to watch them more than once, and I haven't really done that with Thor, Love and Thunder. There hasn't really been a desire to go back and see it again. I couldn't take this film seriously whatsoever. I think Taika Waititi really overdid it with the humor, and just overall, I thought the story was pretty forgettable. The film was pretty forgettable on a whole, really, and that's quite surprising because you have someone like Christian Bale joining the MCU and playing Gore the God Butcher, and I liked the scenes he was in, but I just don't think that his character felt like he should have been in a different movie, and it kind of has the same problem that I have with Thor Ragnarok. I'm not too much of a big fan of that film either. I know that's I'm in the minority when I say that, but I just think these films, I find them a bit too tonally inconsistent for me to fully become invested with what is going on in the story. So unfortunately, I was quite disappointed with Thor Love and Thunder. On the 11th, I watched The Others, which is a horror film starring Nicole Kidman that came out in 2001, and I thought this was overall it was pretty solid. I know I've given it the same rating as Thor Love and Thunder, but I thought overall it was pretty solid. It was a good atmospheric horror film. Not really that many jump scares or anything like that, but just a good use of building tension through the environment, and I think the performances were good. Nicole Kidman was great. There is a big twist with this film that occurs towards the end, which I did kind of see coming, because it is essentially the same twist as another famous film, which I won't say just in case you guys are planning on checking this film out. If you've seen this film, then you'll know the other film that I'm referring to. But yeah, on the whole, I thought it was alright. I thought it was fine. On the 13th, I watched Hostel, directed by Eli Roth, and I think this was also written and produced by Quentin Tarantino. Like, this is probably like one of the most gruesome films that I've probably ever seen. A lot of gore, a lot of blood, a lot of screaming. This is one of those torture films that I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't really recommend seeing this film unless you have an appetite for that kind of stuff, which if you do, see a therapist maybe. But yeah, I thought Hostel was, I don't know, I thought it was fine. I mean, it's not really a film that shocks you with the plot or anything like that. I mean, we've all seen these kind of films before, but I think it's like Eli Roth's approach to sort of really gruesome images and things like that, which made this quite entertaining, dare I say. But yeah, Hostel, I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. It was fine. On the 22nd, I watched Blue Bayou, and I watched this on the flight back home from the Dominican Republic. I made a decision to watch this instead of doing a Morbius marathon, which is quite surprising, because I know a lot of people who would sit down and watch the Morbius film for several hours on end. I'm of course joking. That film was utter shit. But Blue Bayou is Justin Chon's directorial debut, which he also stars in, and he also stars Alicia Vikander. I thought the performances were great. It's also one of those films that kind of make you want to purchase a film camera afterwards, because all the cinematography and the film is entirely shot on film. It has a very grainy texture to it. It's a film that is quite deep, and you know, it's a really sort of dense drama. The final sort of 10 minutes or so of this film is really heartbreaking. Like, guys, I was watching this on a plane, and imagine I was looking around and people like around behind me, next to me, were all just staring at my screen, and some of them were even, you know, tearing up a little bit. But yeah, I thought this, for Justin Chon's directorial debut, I thought it was a really solid film, if I'm being completely honest. So on the 23rd, I watched Netflix's The Grey Man, directed by the Russo brothers and starring Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, Ana de Armas. This is Netflix's most expensive film. I think it had a budget of 200 million or something ridiculous like that. A lot of people seem to be outraged by that figure, and I can definitely see why. I mean, this film really wasn't that great, but I seem to have enjoyed it more than most people, really. I mean, what can I say? I do love a good action film, and this essentially is non-stop action. Didn't care whatsoever about the plot or really the characters, but you know, it has charismatic performances. Ryan Gosling is my joint favorite actor, maybe of all time. So yeah, I had fun with The Grey Man. I didn't really take it too seriously, and I think if you go into it with the right expectations, you can maybe have a little fun with it. On the 25th, I watched Where the Crawdads Sing. Where the Crawdads Sing. You know what? This film isn't terrible. It's not awful. It doesn't do anything outrageous. It's not gonna piss. It didn't piss me off or anything like that. I know some people who have been really pissed off by this film, but I just thought it was just such an incredibly average film. Daisy Edgar-Jones I like quite a lot, and she's definitely the best part about this film, but aside from that, the story was really disappointing. I haven't read the book that this was based on, but I don't really want to after seeing this film. I don't think the story is all that. Yeah, just an incredibly average film that I don't think a theatrical release was really justified for, if I'm being completely honest. On the 27th, I rewatched The Untouchables, which is of course French film. I first saw this film back when I was doing French GCSE, so I must have been about like 15, 16, something like that, and I thought this film was wonderful back when I saw it then, and I still think the same of it now. It's one of French cinema's best, I think, in my opinion. Just a really, really touching drama with a lot of comedy. It's a film that makes you smile quite a lot because of the relationship between the two characters, the two main characters. Yeah, if you haven't seen The Untouchables, I definitely recommend checking it out. It's great. On the 28th, I watched We Need to Talk About Kevin, starring Tilda Swinton and Ezra Miller, of course, who seems to be on a bit of a roll recently, on a bit of a criminal rampage as of now. It looks like he's still method acting because he plays Kevin in this film, and Kevin is a little shit. If you've seen this film, you'll know exactly how this character behaves, and he's just an absolute nightmare, a nightmare child. I really wouldn't know what to do if I was in the situation of living in a house with this kid. This film was dark, like really dark, very, very uncomfortable to watch. I kind of wanted it to be over, but in a good way, not because the film was bad or anything, but just because I was really just made me feel really uncomfortable. It's a very good film. I'll be completely honest. It's a very good film. Yeah, just gave me the creeps, really. On the 29th, I rewatched How to Train Your Dragon. I've only seen this film once before, and obviously I had a blast with it, and that is the same for my rewatch here. I love this film a lot. I think it's one of DreamWorks' best films. It has what I think is one of the best film scores for an animated film maybe ever, with John Powell's score for this film. It's incredibly iconic. It's a really, really great film. I don't know anyone really who hasn't seen How to Train Your Dragon. If you haven't seen this film, what are you doing? Watch it. And then I watched How to Train Your Dragon 2, which I hadn't seen before, and I thought this was a great sequel. I thought it was a great follow-up that expanded the world that these characters inhabit. It was really, really emotional at one point as well. I almost started tearing up during one scene in particular. The action takes a step up as well. The animation also improves. Really, really solid sequel to the first. And on the 31st, again on that night, to finish off the month of July, I watched How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, the third and final installment in this trilogy. I think this trilogy on whole is terrific. The third one here is definitely the weakest in the trilogy, I would say, but it's still a really damn good film. The villain isn't as good as the ones in the first two, but the animation is beautiful, and the way everything wraps up, the way everything concludes, I thought was pretty perfect, if I'm being completely honest. So yeah, that is what I watched in the month of July, guys. All 11 films. Let me know what you managed to check out in the month of July, and let me know how your summer is going, if you're managing to check out anything interesting, what you're watching, whether it be a series or new films. Let me know in the comment section down below. If you did enjoy the video, guys, be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel if you are new. We talk movies here all the time, so don't miss out. So yeah, guys, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you very soon in the next.